Let's jump right into it. Merab Dvalishvili is the greatest bantamweight that we have ever seen. He is officially the bantamweight GOAT. And I honestly feel a little bit for Sean O'Malley because it really did seem like he took the proper preparations and adjustments in his life to properly get locked in for this fight and dialed in and just trying to get a different result than last time. They're not smoking, drinking, or social media. He even didn't dye his hair for the first time since 2020 and changed even his theme song from Superstar. So he was really trying to have a different approach, a different kind of game plan to this fight. And just seeing him throughout the entire fight week and the presser and the way he walked into the octagon, he did have this different look in his eyes that made me feel like, wow, something's going to be different about this fight. Something is going to be different with Sean O'Malley. He had repaired his hip issues. There's no bright lights from the sphere anymore. There's no excuses. The excuses are out the window. He's getting his rematch back, and I feel like he actually is going to make something different with this fight. But once again, Merab Dvalishvili has proven too much to handle. And in the beginning of this fight, Sean O'Malley did an amazing job staying on the feet. He really did. He had it where he needed it in the first two rounds, kind of with some striking. But surprisingly, Merab Dvalishvili also was outstriking Sean O'Malley on the feet, which was insane. Because Sean O'Malley is supposed to be that elite striker. He's supposed to be one of the most elite strikers in the bantamweight division, Merab. And Merab was outstriking him. Merab was having some good exchanges. Of course, Merab was using his insane pressure to keep Sean O'Malley on the back foot, backpedaling. But Sean O'Malley was doing a great job staying on the feet with those first two rounds. The takedowns that Merab was throwing at him weren't so strong in the beginning. And Merab, clearly he was just playing around with Sean O'Malley, but he was toying with him. He was smiling at the end of the second round. He's like, this dude thinks he actually is doing something better this time, but watch this, right? That's the kind of look Merab was giving after the second round when Sean O'Malley was giving him some times on the exchanges on the feet. But comes that third round, Merab wasn't playing any games. He wasn't playing any more games. He took Sean O'Malley, picked him up over his shoulder, just like he did to Henry Cejudo, and slammed him on the ground and just absolutely smothered him. And it was just like, at that moment, everyone knew, okay, this fight's pretty much over. It's going to be the exact same story as the last fight. After the first two rounds, we really thought that something could be different here. Sean O'Malley could find that shot. And Sean O'Malley did get a couple lands on Merab's face, but nothing too powerful, clearly, to phase Merab, which just goes to show also Merab's chin. And Merab was doing the takedown, control time, and then Merab finishes Sean O'Malley. People saying Merab Dvalishvili is a finishing machine. Sure, a lot of finishes in his career, but just now he just submitted Sean O'Malley. He beat Sean O'Malley even worse than the first time. And this fight really just displayed, again, Merab's level of a fighter. He keeps on displaying new skills through each performance to really bring out that he is one of the most well-rounded fighters in this division and just a freak of nature. He's just an elite champion and the bantamweight GOAT. In the Umar fight, he really displayed his insane gas tank, his insane cardio. In this fight, he showed that he has some good striking ability. His striking ability has improved tremendously. In the beginning, he really wasn't taking down Sean O'Malley too many times. He was keeping on the feet, trying to display his striking. And he was doing a really good job, and he outstruck Sean O'Malley. What was it? I saw this crazy stat popped up that he had like 64 strikes to Sean O'Malley's 4 when he had O'Malley on the ground, and he kept on kneeing him in the stomach and in the legs, and then Sean O'Malley did get back up, but then he just threw him right back down on the ground. And it's like, here we go again. Merab will outwork Sean. He's going to just use control time. But to our surprise, he finished Sean O'Malley in that third round when I thought, okay, Sean O'Malley, at the beginning of every round, Sean O'Malley has a chance to do something in the first minute because it resets back to the feet. It never got there. Merab got Sean O'Malley in this terrible position where Sean O'Malley's face was kind of cranked to the side, and Merab just submitted him. So Merab, who's going to beat this guy? Who is going to beat this guy? It sure as hell ain't Corey Sandhagen. I don't think Corey Sandhagen... I mean, sure, Corey Sandhagen should get the next title shot, because why not? If Merab wants to stay super active and defend two more times this year, he could do Corey Sandhagen and then Jan/Umar, depending on who wins their fights. But Corey Sandhagen definitely should get the next title shot, at least get his shot. But nobody, I don't see anyone beating Merab. This dude is too elite everywhere, it seems. Just continuing to showcase. When you look at his resume now, it's insane. Moraes, what was his name? Michael Moraes, Jose Aldo, Henry Cejudo, Peter Yan, Umar Nurmagomedov, and Sean O'Malley 2 times. Merab is now at like the Pantoja stage where he's going to continue to just defend against rematches and continue to build up and stat pack that legacy. So yeah, I really do feel a little bit for Sean O'Malley. He seemed, he was, after the fight, he was talking to Joe Rogan. He had a very short, minimal answer. He wasn't really looking to, he was respectful though. They both went over to shake hands with Dana White, Hunter Campbell, Donald Trump, of course, was there. Also, incredible that Donald Trump, President of the United States, and he's still showing up to pay-per-viewed events. He came to UFC 314 in Miami. Now he's at UFC 316. He's still coming to UFC pay-per-view events, which is honestly amazing to have the President of the United States there. So, just, what else can you say? Merab Dvalishvili is the best bantamweight. Like, Dominic Cruz moved to the side. His good old friend and in his corner, Aljamain Sterling also up there. Top 5 bantamweight of all time, but Merab Dvalishvili is at number 1 in terms of bantamweights. TJ Dillashaw also great. Nobody's coming to Merab Dvalishvili. I think this fight right here just cemented his legacy being the greatest bantamweight. And he's just an insane champion. Really. Sean O'Malley, where does he go from here? The UFC kind of, again, this translated to just someone who didn't deserve a title shot necessarily, but got it anyways because the UFC is pushing him as a star and hoping that he could do something to get back that belt, create a buzz, make it back on the headlines. Now Sean O'Malley is probably 2 fights away from another title shot. Where does he go from here? I don't know. Honestly, I would still love to see the Corey Sandhagen fight versus Corey versus Sean, but Corey Sandhagen should be getting that next title shot. But Dana White did say maybe the Umar rematch is interesting, but timeline-wise, I don't know. But maybe Merab defends against Umar again, and Umar gets an immediate title rematch after losing, too. If that's the pattern the UFC wants to follow with this at this point. And you never know. We could still be open to a Pantoja-Merab fight if Pantoja beats Kara France in a couple weeks. So yeah, kind of an anticlimactic finish to this card when Sean O'Malley got finished instead by Merab, who usually never finishes anyone. So Sean O'Malley's going to feel this one. It's rough for him. All that preparation, all the lifestyle changes just to lose even more convincingly and be submitted by Merab. And Merab, just spectacular performance, an elite fighter. Best bantamweight. Julianna Pena versus Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison gets the submission versus Julianna Pena. No surprises here. Julianna Pena was one of the biggest underdog champions in like 5 years. The odds were crazy, and Kayla Harrison does it. She submits Julianna Pena in round 2. Was a boring fight, so I'm happy this one just ended early. And yeah, Kayla Harrison, this is what everyone knew was going to happen. She looked huge in there. She was going to overpower Julianna Pena. After all that trash talk, Kayla Harrison ends up, but it's cool that they had respect. They hugged it. They had a nice long hug. And yeah, now you set up a massive fight for Amanda Nunes versus Kayla Harrison. Amanda Nunes coming back in the UFC. Amanda Nunes' crazy record, a 2-time division belt holder. She held the belt at the same time for 2 different divisions, as we all know. And yeah, it's crazy that she actually wants to come back. We don't see a lot of fighters do this. Well, actually, maybe we do. Apparently, Jorge Masvidal and Cowboy Cerrone want to come back, and Henry Cejudo came back from retirement. So maybe actually a lot of fighters do hop, but you really felt like Amanda Nunes wasn't gonna hop back in after retiring, but here she is and she actually wants to hop in and fight Kayla Harrison. So I guess what is that, a women's MMA super fight? But we'll see how that goes in the future. So congrats to Kayla Harrison. Joe Pyfer did not end up finishing Kelvin Gasetlum, which really shows Kelvin Gaslum's chin. But at the same time, in the first round, he dropped Kelvin Gasetlum twice. I mean, really the first time he knocked him down, I'm like, okay, this fight's over. There we go. Joe Pyfer catches the body. Didn't really happen. Kelvin Gastelum gets back up, then he drops him again. I mean, Joe Pyfer looked huge out there, and Kelvin Gastelum was just like a punching bag out there for him, really. This was literally a layup for Joe Pyfer but really, what you're supposed to do with the layup is finish the guy, which Joe Pyfer wasn't able to do, but he still dropped him. He had some really hard, heavy-hitting shots to display his power and why they call him body bags. So good win for Joe Pyfer, and we'll see what's next for him. Maybe he gets a ranked opponent next. And yeah, Joe Pyfer just kind of... And Kelvin Gastelum should just retire, bro. Like, look at this build on this guy. Like, Kelvin Gastelum's horrible. This guy's just going to be a layup for all these new middleweight contenders. Yeah, that was that fight. Patchy Mix versus Mario Bautista. Patchy Mix, another failed debut for a Bellator fighter. We just saw Patricio Pitbull get shown the UFC levels by Yair. And now the hated Mario Bautista shows the UFC level to Patchy Mix. And maybe this really does now create the gap between Bellator and UFC. People are saying, yeah, Bellator, these top guys, you don't really know how good they are until they come to the UFC. But what have we seen from these Bellator guys? They haven't gone in there and beaten the UFC level. Patchy Mix, for the way he was talking and how confident he was, that was not great at all. That was not a great performance. He looked very stiff in his movements. That was my first time watching him, of course, and his fighting style. He also has this kind of look on his face. He has this hilarious, bothered look on his face when he gets hit. But Mario Bautista, I know we all hated him. We were all booing him coming into this fight after he did what he did to Jose Aldo. But he kept it a little more entertaining in this fight. He did. He wasn't looking to really clinch so much with Patchy on the fence. It was a lot of pitter-patter exchanges. Mario Bautista, maybe this was a little bit of a better performance than the last one. He improves his winning streak, I think, to 8. Patchy Mix, yeah, that was a very disappointing debut to watch for someone. And the way he was just talking, I'm the best bantamweight in the world. I'm going to be getting the title shot next if I win. Yeah, none of that for you, buddy. You'll be lucky if the UFC keeps you around for one more fight. I mean, that performance was not that great. So, yeah, Mario Bautista showing the UFC levels. Mario Bautista should probably get a top 5 guy next. And then Holland, predicted Kevin Holland to get the win. Gets the submission in round 2. Pretty fun with Vicente Luque. In the big first round, it was a really fun first round. Some really good exchanges. Kevin Holland had this nasty spinning elbow that caught Vicente Luque in the back of his head. And Vicente Luque had this huge bump on the back of his head. And then Vicente Luque had a couple shots that kind of phased Kevin Holland. You just knew it was about to be a fun welterweight scrap to open up this card. But then Kevin Holland comes in immediately in the second round and pulls off the D-Arc choke, or as he calls it, the Dark Man choke, and puts Vicente Luque out, the same way that Vicente Luque got his last one versus Themba Gorimbo. So Kevin Holland is once again on a little bit of a momentum, 2 straight wins. He wants to fight again every 2 months. He's one of the most consistent fighters. He was talking a lot of talk, saying some wild things in their face-off. He was talking a lot in the fight, just smiling. You could tell he's happy to do this for a job and collect the check and then go to Miami and party. And he just enjoys, I guess, doing this win or lose. He just loves, getting these fights booked and collecting the check. But he is now going to get a ranked spot in the welterweight division since he came back down to 170. Kevin Holland could legitimately make a little bit of some noise here. And honestly, I love the Colby Covington fight. That fight would be fantastic with the trash talk, 2 big-mouthed personalities. So I would love to see that for Kevin Holland and Colby Covington. Maybe they could put that on 3-6-18 in August. No, 3-19s in August in Chicago. That would be a great fight to add on that card. So Kevin Holland, 2 straight wins, shows that he, of course, we were scratching our heads when he lost to Lidze and De Ritter. Is this guy really still motivated? He's just collecting the checks. He doesn't really care. But now he's showing back in welterweight that a motivated Kevin Holland could just be dangerous on any given fight if he chooses to be, and could be a formidable opponent. And so I'm glad to see Kevin Holland really catch some momentum here and still be relevant. So Kevin Holland gets the win versus Vicente Luque. Joshua Van has been surging in flyweight. Surging. Just puts a TKO performance on Bruno Silva in the 3rd round. Pretty much dominant fight throughout. And then rapid punch combos to finish him. So amazing by Joshua Van. Give this guy a nice ranked spot next in flyweight. Flyweight needs some new, fresh blood. And Joshua Van definitely could get some, right? Flyweight's super boring. I could see this guy in the future going toe-to-toe with Manel Cap or Kai Car France. Like, Joshua Van, I think, is on that level. Enough with these, stat pack his record. Let's get him moving. Joshua Van. Azamat Murzakanov gets the nice light heavyweight win versus Brenson Ribeiro. I think even if it was Johnny Walker, he would still win this fight. So good performance by him to continue to climb up in light heavyweight. Sergey Spivak versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. Sergey Spivak is on just the biggest fall right now. And Waldo Cortez Acosta gets the win. And then Andreas Gustafsson gets his fight last week was canceled, so he ended up calling for Chaos Williams in this fight. He gets it, and he gets the win. Did not watch this fight. I was still on my way to my boy's house while this fight was happening. But yeah, Andreas Gustafsson, this guy has some crazy tats, and he looks scary. And he gets the win in his debut versus Chaos Williams. We'll see where he goes from here. So, and then a couple prelims. Zhang Hossein Wu in the first minute, crazy perfect hook into Jenka Sarg. He makes Jenka fall face first on the mat, on the floor, and completely just slumped. Incredible shot, incredible KO for his debut. So that was a standout performance in the early prelims of the night. And then Quillan Salkield, as predicted, gets his 2nd straight win in his 2nd fight in the UFC versus Yanal Ashmouz. So we'll see what's next for him. He definitely has some potential. Overall, pretty good card. It definitely translated a lot better in the actual night than what it was on paper. So again, Merab Dvalishvili. Well, yeah, you have Kayla Harrison, the new Bantamweight champion, women's champion, to take on Amanda Nunes next in a big fight. And Merab Dvalishvili defends again, 2nd straight title defense versus Sean O Malley, and is probably considered the Bantamweight GOAT now. See you guys in the next one.